It's nice to see developers expand on the idea of what a series traditionally is, while making it something completely different, and with the release of Farcry Primal, it's nice to see the series rise to new heights. As the title suggests, the game is set in the Stone Age, and you play as Takar, a tribesman who's trying to find the rest of his tribe, as well as conquer the land of Oros. The gameplay happens to play similar to previous entries in the series, but there's a ton of changes that make things feel fresh. For starters, weapons are limited. You have access to some melee weapons such as spears and clubs, and some ranged weapons like bows and slings. Apparently, these weapons can't be purchased, but they can be crafted by using materials scavenged across Oros. Another interesting thing that's new would have to be the day and night cycle. When it's night, certain animals that don't come out during the day happen to show up at night, and also seem to be very aggressive as well as dangerous, as the dark is their element, not ours. But the use of fire can be used as protection against these creatures while roaming at night. But the animals aren't the only things that you should be afraid of, as climate can change once you head up north, where it happens to be snowing, and you must huddle around campfires in order to stay warm. Takar isn't your typical caveman. He happens to have the ability to tame animals. The predators that so desperately wanted to hunt you now hunt alongside you. As you progress through the story, you unlock more animals to tame. Some of them you can even ride, which makes up for the backtracking considering there's a faster way of transportation. Bell towers return, but this time around they're called bonfires, and they play differently from previous entries as well. It takes no strategy to get up to the bonfire, and there's enemies that you have to clear out before you unlock the bonfire as a fast travel point. Outposts also make a return, and while you don't have binoculars to scope the area out, you have your very own owl that can scope the areas out for you, and it can even take out enemies. Outposts happen to be more challenging than previous entries in the series. Considering your weapons are limited and there's only 2 long-range weapons, this really makes you think how you're going to get through this without getting spotted. Considering enemies are a lot stronger than ever before, it's probably best to not get caught. It seems as if the devs were too fixated on gameplay in the open world that they forgot about the story. The story isn't awful, in fact, I actually kind of liked it, but it's just some of the levels are dull. Don't get me wrong, some levels are great, others on the other hand happen to get very repetitive. Not to mention some levels made me question if what I was doing would even accomplished anything. Once I beat the game, I didn't feel the need to continue playing. I mean, sure, there's side quests, but those can be finished pretty quickly, and due to the lack of content, there isn't much to keep me coming back for more. Primal isn't a terrible game though. In fact, I love that Ubisoft took the risk, but some risks aren't worth taking. And while I love the open world, the gameplay mechanics, and the story for the most part, I wasn't too fond of the lack of content, nor was I fond of some of the levels in the campaign. And while Primal certainly isn't the best of the series, it certainly isn't the worst. I'd recommend waiting for the game to be $40 instead of $60. And before I end this review, here's an exclusive look at a very interesting Easter egg. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.